The Girls Club, 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 The Girls Club. It's my club and I'm a girl, yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to the Girls Club. I'm your president, Emily, and today I'm in a hat. Ooh, why am I in a hat, you ask? Well, I have forehead acne. I put no makeup on, and my hair is greasy. What is a girl to do besides put a hat on of a baseball team that she does not watch because she does not watch sports? This isn't the sports club. This is the Girls Club. Okay. The thing about me is if I ever go to a sports game, which is rare, okay, it's rarer than the rare that I like my steak, and I like that shit bloody. I like it to be like the animal just died and we maybe grazed it across the fire. You know, I like it borderline raw, okay? That's how rare it is that I go to a sports event. But every time that I go, I do buy merch. I love merch. I'm wearing YouTuber merch right now from one of my favorite YouTuber duos, Singe and Drowning. And then I'm wearing this hat from what's the sports team? Texans? Texas Rangers? The baseball team in Dallas. Okay, y'all know. That team. Yeah, that way. I don't even know if it's major league. It might just be minors. I couldn't tell you. I don't know the difference. Probably A minor. They not like us. Yes, Kendrick knew what he said. Speaking of Kendrick knew what he said, like literally my whole TikTok right now is just conspiracy theories about like how Beyonce is like this like evil like mafioso who like all of these other artists have to like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if your TikTok is like this. Hold on. Let me formulate what I'm trying to say here. But it's like Beyonce. Wait, okay, take 3. When artists go accept an award or whatever, there's this like trend of like always thanking Beyonce or giving Beyonce credit, being like, you're my idol, like you're such an icon, blah, 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 if Beyonce was like in the running to win the award. So there's this big conspiracy theory now that like Jaguar Wright has just like yapped her head off on every interview ever, talking about like the Diddy stuff and like everything, like talking about how like Beyonce, like if these people don't give her credit or something, like she'll like order a hit on them. And there's like videos of like Kanye saved Taylor that night when Kanye like went upstairs and like took the mic from Taylor because Taylor didn't like acknowledge Beyonce and was like, the best music video goes to Beyonce. Like we all know it. Like y'all know that clip. And I'm like, I don't think Beyonce is like this evil mastermind who y'all are like saying she is. I think that she probably has done some bad, you know, like everybody who's in the 1%ers has, you know, no ethical billionaires and whatever. And now with all this Diddy stuff, like I'm sure shit will come out about her, but like I don't think she's like ordering hits on people who don't like give her thanks in their Grammy acceptance speeches. I just like I'm on like that side of TikTok and everybody's like, Kendrick has been telling us all these years, and like the J. Cole song She Knows, people are like saying that like the she stands for Sean, or wait, yeah, Sean, because of Sean Carter aka Jay-Z, and the knows stands for Knowles, like Beyonce Knowles. And it's like, because the song is like rest in peace to Aaliyah, rest in peace to Left Eye, rest in peace, or Michael Jackson, I'll see ya just as soon as I die, or whatever. And then it's like She Knows. So it's like Beyonce and Jay-Z are like playing the hits of all those people, which Jaguar Wright did say some shit about like Jay-Z knowing about Aaliyah's death, but I don't think that's quite the same as like Beyonce planning the death. I don't know. It's just crazy. Like I feel like my whole TikTok ever since all this Diddy shit has come out is like just, it's turned to tinfoil hat TikTok so quickly, and I'm just like, oh my god, can we get back to the funny stuff? Like this is so crazy, and I don't know, just insane. Also, I saw that Diddy's mom made a statement about, you know, like my son has been wronged and the truth is going to come out and blah blah blah. I'm like, That must be such an interesting position to be in, like the mom of a like offender and abuser and whatever. It's like, at what point do you just say like fuck you to your kid and you're like you are like a piece of shit and this is not cool and whatever. But then it's at the same time, it's like she's probably profited off of all of the bad things that he's done. But like that would be so sick. Like I cannot imagine having a child and being like a defender of them being like a monster. Like I don't care. Like that's fucked up. I don't know. And so it's like her saying all this stuff where it's like there's literally video proof of him like beating up Cassie. It's like, ugh. I don't really care what you have to say about your son. Like he's a piece of shit. Like the fuck. Anyways, how are you guys doing today? I'm recording this on Monday. Normally I record this on Tuesday, but tomorrow I am flying to Cabo and I will be in Mexico for a few days to celebrate my mother's birthday, to celebrate my mom's birthday, my brother's birthday. We're all born within 10 days of one another. So it's a big birthday celebration weekend. It's my mom's 60th birthday. That's why we're going out there. Me and my brother are just roping our birthdays into it. Because, you know, I talked about last week being my birthday, but like the funny thing is about our birthdays that I'm like really thinking about, and like the reason why I don't think I've ever really cared that much about my birthday, or like I don't care to celebrate it. I don't really like celebrating myself. I feel awkward because I don't like when people are like, me has a podcast literally talking to like people being like, I don't like when the attention's on me. That's a different kind of attention, babes. I don't like IRL attention. So like I don't like when you're like in a restaurant, people are like, let's sing happy birthday to you. And I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want that. Even like I went to dinner for my birthday just with one friend, and the waiter brought out a piece of cake with like a candle on it, and I felt awkward because people around me were staring at me, and I was like, I don't like this. Blow it out. Literally as soon as he set it down, I blew it out. I don't think he even moved his hand away. It was so awkward. I'm like, I don't like it. And then I have other friends who like love that. Like they love the like public attention. I hate it. I feel so awkward, uncomfortable. I don't know what to do with my hands, like a Ricky Bobby. Like that's how I feel. But I think a big reason for like my birthday just always being like I don't really care too much about it is because me and my brother's birthday are 2 days apart. So like we never really got to celebrate each one of our birthdays because the next person's was like right after. Does that make sense? And then I'm like wondering like how twins and triplets feel. I'm like, God, that would fucking be so annoying. Like you don't even get a single day. Like at least I get a whole day. But like you don't even get a single day. That's just you and, or like imagine your birthday on Christmas. I'm sure at least one person listening to this has a birthday on Christmas. Like, or Thanksgiving or New Year's or like a big holiday. Like that would fucking suck. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you have that. Or imagine your birthday being the day after Christmas. Everybody's like so exhausted from gift giving and like so exhausted from, you know, the social element of it all. And like all of your friends are like at their own family's houses and it's like your birthday's the next day and you're like, let's keep the good times going. Everybody's like, happy birthday. Okay. I'm over this, you know, and you're like, it's not my fault my parents chose to give birth to me on this day. It's not my fault my mom's water broke today of all fucking days. I'm sure she wasn't happy about it either. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Yeah, so I'm recording this after work. I have to edit this and then schedule it and everything, and it will go out when it normally goes out. But I'm like, the turnaround is so quick. I've already packed. I packed yesterday because I knew this was going to happen today, because I was going to record yesterday and I was like, I can't. I'm so tired. I can't. And so I'm doing it today and procrastinating per usual. Trying to get everything done really quickly, but I did pre-pack so I don't have to do that. Hopefully I packed everything I needed. I don't really know. I kind of blacked out for like 20 minutes and just like, we'll see when we get there, won't we? I'm only bringing a carry-on though. So, I mean, what do you really need when you go to like warm climate? You just need like a swimsuit and like one outfit and underwear, you know, you're good. And a hairbrush, because my hair always gets so tangly. Wow. I'm like so ADHD right now. Also because I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but if you take Adderall, like there's been like an Adderall shortage going on now for God, it feels like 2 years. And most of the time when I refill my prescription, there's no fucking issue. But of course, the week I'm going out of town, they're out and they can't refill my script and they don't know when they're going to restock. And the people who, like most of the pharmacists who I deal with are so fucking rude to me whenever I'm trying to refill my prescription or anything, because like it's like pharmacists have this vendetta against people who have Adderall prescriptions specifically. I think a lot of people don't see a legitimate use for the drug because it's so stereotyped to be abused. And it's really frustrating for people who actually, you know, have ADHD and need that medication to like function normally. And they're so fucking rude. Like I called them because I did the request online, but the thing about when you do the online refill or whatever, like they don't legitimize it because it's a controlled substance. So you have to call, and then you call and you can't just talk directly to the pharmacist. You have to like go through all the robotic AI options first. And then eventually it's like, I don't know how to help you. Let me transfer you. And you're like, thank God, that's all I've wanted from the beginning. Then they transfer you and you talk to the pharmacist and you're like, hey, I have a prescription that I need refilled. It says it's pending, so I needed to call in. They're like, oh, okay, like what's your name, birthday? You tell them. They're like, we don't see anything. They're like, what's it for? I'm like, Adderall. And they're like, oh, immediately change in tone. And yesterday I was talking to the pharmacist and she goes, we're out of that. We've been out of it for 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know when we're going to get it again. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going out of town on Tuesday and my prescription's up. So, and she was like, well, that's unfortunate. And I was like, okay, well, thanks. And then she's like, bye, and just hung up the phone. I was like, bitch. Literally, like, it's not my fault. The fuck? I'm sorry. But when I was falsely prescribed antidepressants and my doctor was trying to like shovel down Zoloft down my throat faster than I could say, I'm not depressed. I think you diagnosed me wrong. Yeah, like it's just insane how there's this huge stereotype about people who take Adderall and this big misconception that the public has towards the drug, because I don't know, like, I mean, I know why, but I also like, it's so frustrating because it's like, if you were looking at any other like mental disorder, nobody acts like that towards the medication. It's like literally only towards Adderall. And I don't know, it's so frustrating. So now I'm going, you know, out of the country for a week and I won't have my medication. And for people who don't actually need this medicine, they're probably like, oh, that's not a big deal. Like, you'll be fine without it. But it's like, I unmedicated the other day, left my stove on overnight. Overnight. I forgot to turn my stove off. I could have burned my house down. It's like shit like that. It's like, no, that's why I'm on it, because I have like attention issues. Like I will just be in the middle of doing something and then abruptly remember something and then just completely divulge into something else entirely. Or I'll be working on an assignment for work and then think of something else that like I had talked about like 2 weeks prior, and then start working on that instead. And then it's like I have a deadline, and then instead I stay up for like 11 hours like deep diving on something that like doesn't matter. It's like shit like that. Like that's why people need it. And so it's just so frustrating because like it's so sassy every fucking time, and it's like, it's not my fault that my doctor thought that this was the best route to take for my shit, you know? I don't want to have to take a medicine every day. Nobody does. And it's just so frustrating. So yeah, I'm going to be unmedicated this whole week. I'm unmedicated right now. And that's probably why this is just like so fast paced and all over the place, because I'm just like, oh my God, it's so bad. So yeah, I feel bad for my family. I feel bad for myself, honestly. Actually, like, I don't mind when I'm not on my medicine. I really just feel bad for the people around me. Also, I do have a bit of nerves going through the airport and stuff tomorrow without being on my medicine, because I just have like one time when I didn't take my medicine and I was in the airport, I left my whole ass suitcase at a gate when I like went to go get some food and go to the bathroom. I was gone for like 45 minutes before I remembered that I left my suitcase there. I was just like, oh, oops. And I came back and I was like, oh, forgot that I had that. And tomorrow I'm only rocking a carry-on as well. So I'm like, hopefully I don't do that this time. Oopsies. The only thing that I will always have on me is, no, that's not even true, because half the time I lose my phone. But that's why my phone, I have everything I need in my phone. It's like my ID, my credit cards, everything, because like if anything, I'm gonna have my phone on me. But even that, like I lose all the time. It's bad. And screw the pharmacist who was rude to me, because joke's on you, sweetie. I'm just gonna become a burden to everybody else in my life besides myself. So yeah. But how are you guys doing? How's everybody doing? It's fall. It's getting colder. I'm loving it. I'm living, laughing, and loving it. Seriously, I am, you guys. Speaking of loving things, I watched a movie this weekend and it was freaking good, and you guys need to watch it. I haven't watched a really good movie in a long time, I feel like. Especially, this was on Netflix, y'all. Netflix, the app that has put out some of the worst pieces of media I have watched in the past 5 years, actually put out a good fucking movie. I was shocked. All I wanted to do for my birthday was watch a good movie. And me and my roommate ordered, what did we get? Domino's pizza. See, this is how low-key I am. We ordered some Domino's pizza and we watched a movie. And I was so content, and I went to bed that night so happy. But the movie was, God, what was it called? I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. It's What's Inside. And it is, I don't want to give it away, but it's kind of like a, not murder mystery, that's the wrong theme, because it's not really what it is, but it's kind of like that type of vibe, because it's like this guy is getting married, and so he invites his friends over to, you know, his house to do like one final hoorah before he gets married, and they play this like crazy game where they can like swap brain. It's like they can swap into each other's bodies via their like brain waves. It's insane. It's a really crazy concept. I thought the script was so well written. My biggest critique on Netflix media in general is they make movies for people who are on their phones. And I cannot stand that, because all of their movies are like spoon fed to you. It's like, I'm going to say what's happening, I'm going to show you what's happening, and then I'm going to repeat it again, because they know the majority of their viewers are just on their phones the entire time. And I hate that. I hate watching media with people who do that too. And so like, that's one of my main reasons for canceling my subscription for them. I'm like, you guys don't even have good movies on here anymore. And then the movies that you make and the TV shows that you make and produce are bad. Like, they're for people who don't like watching movies or TV. So I'm like, this just sucks. Like, this app sucks. This movie was not like that. The script was really well written. It felt very realistic, like the conversations and stuff. And the characters were really good. And the characters were very like stereotypical tropes that we all know, which sometimes can come off very like corny and whatever in movies. But I think this one did a good job of not being too overly like, oh, this guy's obviously supposed to be the stoner, and this guy's obviously supposed to be the popular guy, and this girl's supposed to be the, you know what I mean? Like, they did a little bit of that, but I think in a good way, that it like helped add like a comedic element without it becoming cheesy and without taking you out of the movie and being like, oh, this is just like a throwaway, like funny, like movie that I would watch at a party. Like you do kind of need to pay attention to like figure out what the fuck's going on. I would so recommend watching it with another person or like a couple of people. Like you could watch it by yourself, but I think it's a better viewing experience with somebody else. Me and my roommate kept like pausing it and then like talking about like what we think's gonna happen, and like I don't know, it was really good, and I was so pleasantly surprised. The shots, like they had some really good creative shots in it. The set was really pretty. Like it was in this house that was like super campy and weird, and like I don't know, I just really enjoyed the movie, and I was very shocked because I believe it was like this director's first like feature film, which is also crazy that it was like so good. But yeah, check it out. It's What's Inside. That's what it's called. It was really, really good. Okay. Also with it being fall, it's officially divorced dad music season. And you guys know what that means. And if you don't know what that means, it just basically means like music that you would hear at a bowling alley. It's like the music videos that play at a bowling alley. And I really can't get more specific than that. I'm talking Hinder. I'm talking Daughtry. I'm talking Nickelback. I'm talking Three Doors Down. Yes. It's like, oh, Creed, duh, Linkin Park. It's like all the songs that are sang where it sounds like they need to clear their throat and like raspy yet screaming at the same time. I just love that type of music. It's very nostalgic. Last week I mentioned my first concert ever was a Chris Daughtry concert, and I think that's why it's like ingrained in me. Also the color of my skin. Hello, of course I'm gonna love white men screaming into a microphone about how horrible their lives are. I feel like it's just in my DNA, you know? That song Lips of an Angel by Hinder is like another level of just like, why'd we write this song? You know? But at the same time, I'm like, I couldn't live without it. Like, I think my whole existence would be different without that song. Imagine going to a bowling alley and not watching that music video. Imagine going to a bowling alley and not watching that music video that's will you still call me Superman? Dun, 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 dun. I will be there holding my hand. I'll be your kryptonite, or whatever that song is. Superhuman, my anti-kryptonite. Yeah. Like that song, yeah, bangs. It bangs. But Lips of an Angel is like one of those songs where you're like, that's crazy. Literally, my girl's in the next room. Sometimes I wish she was you. I guess we really moved on. It's really good to hear your voice screaming my name. It sounds so sweet coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing your words, it makes me weak. Let it die. Don't want to say goodbye, but girl, you make it hard to be faithful. With the lips of an angel. And that's one of those songs that's like, oh, okay. If he wanted to, he literally wouldn't. Because this guy's literally talking about like being in a relationship and like still missing his ex so damn bad. It makes it so hard to be faithful, to not cheat on his girl. It's like, dude, fucking no wonder you're divorced. You know, it's like no wonder divorced dads love that music. It like makes him feel so seen. But I love that music too, so maybe I am a divorced dad at heart. You know, when I used to play pretend back in the day, I would always like have kids in these like worlds I would create or whatever. I would have kids, but I would either be divorced from their father or their dad would be dead. I don't know, like I always was like the widow or the divorced mom. It was so weird. Like I would always play pretend and I would always be a mom, but I would never have a husband. But like there was a husband at one point. Like he's just gone. Like not me fantasizing about getting divorced. That's crazy. Even me as a child knew like, I don't think you're meant for this for the long haul, girl. Like I think it is a it's a, it lived in its moment and the moment is over and now you're a single mom, babe. Like, why was like first grade me playing pretend as a single mom? That's crazy. Even little old me was woke enough to be like, men ain't shit and like I can do this shit on my own. Just so insane. I don't know. I was always about that life. I always was about that life. I don't know. It's just something about like, I think men always want to be dads because society does not expect a lot out of dads, and not all women want to be moms because women know the weight that carries with being a mom at a very young age. I think a lot of women are aware of like what being a mom actually means. Like, it's not just like the cute, like, oh, I'm pushing the stroller, I'm changing the diapers, and we got the cute outfits. It's like, no, it's like the emotional, like, commitment, the physical commitment that we have to make to our bodies. Like, there's just so much more that comes with being a mom, and there's so much more that society puts on moms than dads. So most men, if not majority of men, say they want to be fathers because I don't think they completely grasp what that actually means, and because society as a whole has not put a lot of worth on the role of dad, aside from traditional norms where it's like the dad's the provider and that's all that's asked of him. But in modern times, it's probably not enough for just the dad to have a job. Mom and dad probably have to have a job with the way the economy is. And B, if mom and dad both have the job, the whole like, but you also still have to be like a parent is not developed with this new thing. So it's like dad will still go to work, mom will still go to work, but dad gets to come home and like just be like the fun kooky one, and mom still has to be like mom. So it's like two whole jobs, not just one. And I think that's another reason why I don't really want kids or I do want kids, but like I don't want kids with a man, is because I'm like, you're not really going to do shit anyways. Even some of the best dads still lack on a lot of things. Like, why is it that we all have like, shared experiences or stories and, I don't know. It's just something I've always noticed, I think, even at a very young age. So I'm kind of just like, in a perfect world, I don't know if a man would be there. Because I feel like a babysitter could do basically the same thing. If I'm being 100%. Like, I watched this TikTok the other day, this perfect example. And this mom was taking a video of her daughter, and she was like in the car seat on the way to school. And the mom was videoing the daughter to be like, what did dad put on your toast? And the daughter was like, chili powder. And the mom was like laughing, and all the comments were like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Like, what a miss up. Like, oopsies. Like, dad's trying his best. Like, at least he made her toast and whatever. And I'm like, no, it's not fucking funny. It's not a haha oopsie. It's fucking incompetence, because like the role of father is not taken very seriously. Because imagine if a mom were to put chili powder on accident on her kid's bread, okay, for breakfast before school. The dad videoed the daughter and was like, what did mom put on your thing? Everyone would be like calling CPS. Oh, worst mother ever. Like, this is horrible. How do you mix up chili powder and cinnamon? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, how can you call yourself a mom? People would be up in fucking arms, as they should. Like, you shouldn't, like, things like that should not happen. And if they do happen, it should be like one time, whatever. But if you are a competent fucking adult who has, cooked before in their life once, you know the difference between chili powder and cinnamon sugar. What the literal fuck? You're telling me he looked at red fucking chili powder, dark red chili powder, opened it, poured it on toast with butter, and the smell of that didn't trigger something, or the sight of it, or the look? Like, it's beyond me. And it's fucking lazy. And the comments pissed me off because everybody was like, oh, that's so funny. oopsie, he didn't mean it. And the daughter in the video was like, it's not his fault. Like, he didn't, he tried his best. This like fucking 3-year-old is apologizing for her grown ass adult father who fucking was so lazy and incompetent, put chili powder on her breakfast before school instead of cinnamon. I don't find that funny. Like, to me, I'm like, that's fucking sad. And it's just further proof that so much burden is placed on women. It's like, well, at least he tried before he went to work. And it's like, I would rather you not fucking try, because now my kid's gonna be hungry going to school. And also, she probably was traumatized when she bit into that fucking bread and it was covered in chili powder. The fuck? Ugh, don't get me started. Like, it just pisses me off because it's like shit like that. Or like when dads, like, oh my God, I was running this weekend. I was on a trail and I was running, and this dad was like with his kid pushing it in a stroller, okay, on a walk. And a lot of people would be like, oh my God, look, he's doing the bare minimum. I love that for him. Like, yay, he's walking his kid. Wow, that's amazing. It's like, girl, what? That is literally the bare fucking like, you have a kid, you have to walk it when you go on a walk. You can't just leave it at home. Like, that's, you have to do things like that. It's not an award. You don't get an award for fucking doing the bare minimum. But anyways, he's pushing his kid on the stroller, okay? He is straight up just watching or scrolling. He's not paying attention at all to his child, okay? He's pushing the stroller, walking on his phone. Has not looked up one single time. The kid is not strapped into the fucking stroller. Not strapped in. And the kid's old enough to know, like, to be able to move its own body. It's not a fucking newborn baby, which even if it was a newborn, it could still wiggle or whatever and probably fall out the front. This kid stands up while the dad's pushing the stroller because the dad's not fucking paying attention and the dad didn't strap the kid in, and starts to step up and falls out of the stroller onto the concrete, like face first. The dad still proceeds to keep pushing the stroller until he starts to run over the fucking kid. And then he looks up from his phone. He's like, oh my God. And like starts yelling at the kid, who is like 1.5, maybe 2. And I'm running like, you're kidding, right? You're blaming the kid for you not strapping it in the fucking stroller, and you are so locked into whatever the fuck is on your phone. You didn't even pay attention or notice when he fell out in the first place. It took you bumping into his body on the ground with the fucking stroller to notice. That's insane. My first instinct, I'm running. I'm like watching this happen. I'm slowing down because like I'm anticipating what's happening. The moment he stands up, I start running over towards that direction because I'm like, oh my God, this kid's gonna fall out. And then when he like hit the ground, I like started going over there, and then the dad put him back in the thing. So like I just was like, okay, and then I just like walked away. But like literally, like, how am I more aware of what's happening with your fucking child than you are? It's just like, come on. Like, that is so insane. And if that was a mom, oh my God. If somebody got that on video, oh my God, the police would have been called. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm just so sick of this narrative that dads get to just be fucking nothing. Dads get to just be the bare minimum bozo whatever because they're dads. It's like, I don't know, like the fact that the behavior gets excused so often because it's like, well, they're trying their best. Maybe their best isn't good enough. Maybe they didn't need to have a child, you know? Maybe you didn't need to make another one of you. And if you're going to, maybe you need to fucking step up and like figure out how to be a fucking adult. And I think this goes back to a deeper thing. It's like, there's nothing expected of men. Not that there's nothing, of course. And also I'm generalizing with all of this. So I don't want anybody to get offended that I'm like coming after you or your dad or your boyfriend or your husband or whatever. That's not what I'm doing. I'm speaking in general terms. Okay. But like at large, there is not a lot taught to boys of like, this is what you need to do in order to become a competent adult outside of like, get a good job. And, you know, don't get a woman pregnant before you're married. other than that, it's not a ton taught in terms of morality, in terms of ethics, in terms of societal norms and standards, in terms of like respect to other people, to themselves. Not a lot of conversation around regulation of emotions, not a lot of conversation around, female anatomy, their own anatomy, how to, cleanse their own bodies, how to manicure themselves, how to cook, how to clean. It's just not a lot taught to men in general as children. So they become these adults that are like, so like underdeveloped in terms of basic what you and I would declare as like basic adult knowledge, like things that you need to survive. But then it's like we teach men about finances, and we teach men about sports, and we teach men about, firearms, and we teach men about just like we teach men about sex without teaching them about sex, because in movies we talk like a lot of things normalize like violent sexual behavior and talk about like, glorifying the guy who gets around and whatever. And it's like, and we wonder why we create these adult men who, mirror these essentially like caricatures of men in media. And it's like, hello, that's all we've ever taught them. And I hate that this idea that like boys are harder, or boys are easier to raise than girls, and girls are just hard because they're so dramatic and they cause all this trouble and blah blah blah. And like my boy he's just amazing, he's easy. And it's like, yeah, because you guys don't teach him shit. That's why he's fucking easy, because he doesn't have to learn anything. It's like when people are like a dog versus a cat. Cats are inherently easier creatures to take care of because you don't have to take them outside to go pee. You don't have to exercise them outside of like general play. They sleep like 99% of the day. You don't have to like give them baths, really. Like they groom themselves. It's like, so like cats are easier than dogs, and you have to do a lot to train dogs. Like cats, for even training to go to the restroom, like cats are much easier like to train to use a litter box than it is to like train a dog to like not poop and pee in the house, because it's all on you to like wake up, take them outside, teach them how to hold their bladder until they're outside and whatever. And it's like, it's a lot harder. And people, I feel like, generalize men and women, and specifically like boys and girls, like babies, as like, oh, girls are so much more difficult, blah blah blah. And you're like, but why? Because you actually have to teach them things, because society expects women to like be the fucking bird, like hold the burden on everything. So we have to teach them these soft skills, and we have to teach them, to respect their own bodies, and we have to teach them how to set boundaries, because we don't teach boys how to do that. And then women have to continue to keep the fucking like cyclical nature of it all going, because then when women have kids, they teach their kids these things, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going until you like step back and you're like, what is the issue? The issue is we're not teaching young men shit. And then we get mad at them when they act up, And it's like, who's to blame? Do we go back and blame the mom? Because the burden always is on the mom. It's always the mom's fault. I think we blame the fucking dads. I think we blame the dads. And not to make it about gender, about like dads need to teach the boys stuff and the moms need to teach the girls stuff. But at some point, it's like you have to end the cycle of ignorance. You have to end the cycle of idiocracy. You have to end the cycle of incompetence. At some point, the dad who, maybe wasn't taught these things as a kid has to become the adult that learned the things and teaches the things to the son. He can't be the dad who's just like, oh, you know what, kid? All I'm going to teach you is how to fucking hit a baseball and fucking invest in the stock market. That's all you need to know. No, you don't. So, girl, I don't know how the fuck we got on that rant. Jesus fuck. It just pisses me off because I feel like recently we're seeing guys, especially on social media, where it's so performative. It's like, is this even real life? I don't know. Where it's like, oh, they're so well groomed and they have decor in their room. Oh my God, their wall has a fucking picture on it that's in a frame and it's not just a goddamn fucking flag or a t-shirt safe, like fucking thumbtacked in the wall. And we're like, whoa. Oh my God, I need one of those. Where'd you get one of those? Oh my God, they know how to dress themselves and they don't look like fucking fourth graders. Oh my God, they go to the gym and it's not their whole personality and they read. Guys, reading is attractive. It's like, these should not be things that are like mind-blowing or rare to come by. It's like basic fucking adult skills. Oh my God, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you shower, you clean your room, you put up decor in your big ass adult house that you have with your adult money. You dress like a adult and you have hobbies outside of video games and exercising, which those are valid hobbies as well. But like stereotypically, I feel like when we look at men's hobbies, those are like the first things we think of: sports, video games, working out. And in my head, working out shouldn't be your hobby. I think working out is so important and should be part of everybody's lives. But I don't feel like it should be its own standalone hobby, because I feel like, you know, that should just be like, it should be like a job or eating. Like, it's just part of life. I don't think you should make it into a hobby, because then it becomes to control your life and your personality and whatever. But it's like, oh my God, he painted. Ah. That's why I've always hated the girls have no hobbies. Bitch, we invented hobbying. And also, the reason a lot of women don't have, quote, hobbies, or maybe don't have time for hobbies, is because they're so fucking busy. We're busy and booked, hun. We got shit to do. But like, yeah, I don't know. Why am I like, fuck, man? It's not that I'm like anti-man, okay? I'm a little bit. But at the same time, I think I'm just like exhausted of seeing the same thing over and over and over. It's like the cycle continues to repeat itself, and I'm sorry, that's not happening with me. Like, if I have a son, he's not gonna be the one. He's not gonna be the fucking one who's like so ill-equipped to being an adult. He will have the tools that he needs to be an adult. He will know how to wash his face. He will know how to wash his armpits. He will know the basic necessities when it comes to decorating a room on a budget. He will understand how to do laundry. He will know how to cook a meal or 5,000, you know? He will like to read, and he will write his feelings and help people when they need to be helped. And he will not expect to be rewarded for doing the bare fucking minimum. I'm just over that. I'm so over that narrative. It's like, Jesus Christ. And the thing is, I have brothers. I have a dad. And like, I love them to death, but I have watched them get rewarded for doing the bare minimum. And I have never received that same treatment. Ever. And not that it's like I'm jealous, but I'm also just like, I don't understand that narrative. You know? I don't know. I just like, the older I get and the more I have removed the male gaze from the center of my existence, and the more I've removed like men from my reason for being, the more I have realized like we truly do not need men the way that societally up until this point people have, because of laws against women, you know, owning property, having credit cards, having a bank account, having jobs, you know, getting educations and voting and all of these things. It's like that made sense why men were necessary for women to exist and live a, quote, happy life. Now that we don't need that, the hand holding, the babysitting, the bullshit, it's nobody needs to put up with that. You know? I'm also on the side of TikTok that's like all of these women who, you know, got married young and whatever, either got divorced or they're like talking just candidly about their experience with like living with a man and whatever. And they're like, I, you know, was married for 12 years, divorced at 40, and I'm living alone and I've never been happier with my life. I have so much less responsibility on me because I'm not taking care of another adult, you know? I just imagine like I have a roommate and I just like am thinking it in terms of that. I can't imagine living with somebody and having to like baby them and take care of them because they're just like incompetent. But we're like splitting rent. We both have jobs. You know what I mean? It's just like, no. At what point did I sign up to become your caretaker? Never, you know? So I don't know. All that to say, don't settle. I think you expecting normal adult things is not out of the realm of possibility. And if you feel that it is, or if people have told you that it is, find new people. And that's just not true, because I have met competent adult men. I have met men who know how to cook, men who enjoy reading, men who understand, you know, their emotional intelligence and have taken actions towards breaking down their misogynistic thinking, because truly it is hardwired into them because of the way it's taught generation over generation over generation, unknowingly. You know what I mean? It's like this shit is just taught. It's almost like having to deconstruct like your racism as a white person, because inherently you are going to have, you know, racist thoughts, or that you might not think are racist because it's not what we have been told is quote racist, but like we're going to have these like misconceptions or like altered views on reality because we are white and we grow up in a society that rewards whiteness. Does that make sense? Like I'm really not trying to talk on a soapbox right now, but like I said, unmedicated, I'm just spitballing here and thinking of shit that comes to my head as I'm thinking about it. And this has kind of been something I've been thinking about a lot recently. And I had a conversation with my friend about earlier this week in regards to the whole like men thing. Also, a conversation that we were having was like how women, you know, we have a lot of different like evolutions in our life, and we have a lot of different like periods in our life that are distinctly broken up. You know, I think women have like, you know, childhood, we have adolescence, we have teenage years, we have college, the same way that everybody else does. But within that, we have different paths that we take, and those paths determine who we surround ourselves with in our lives. Where I think a lot of men don't have those different stages of life when it comes to their circles. Like specifically, I can think like it's like guys have this tendency to make friends at a young age and then maintain those friendships their entire lives, because their lives don't change that much throughout each phase. You know, a guy in high school versus a guy in college versus a guy in the workplace versus a dad versus a granddad, whatever. The life phase is not changing that much for them, because back to this concept we were talking about earlier, it's like there's not a ton expected of them in each different phase to evolve and to make them evolve their thinking and their character and their, you know, hobbies and their interests. So it makes sense why they maintain these friendships throughout this whole time, because nothing about them is really changing. Their true self is remaining the same. Women, it's completely different. Like I have literally 3 friends still from high school that I talk to. Okay. And within these 3 friends, we are all in different phases of life, to the point of like, I don't have a ton in common with really any of them anymore, besides the fact that we are actively trying to maintain friendships. But like Two are married, one's in a serious relationship. We all live in different parts of the country. We all work in different job fields. Like, it's effort required to maintain these relationships because women have this level of intimacy in our relationships that a lot of men don't have. It's kind of like well documented, especially on social media, of people being like, guys have friends that they go drink with or whatever, but like their best friend probably doesn't even know 10 things about them at a deep level. And whenever we see a friendship between men that does exhibit those traits of deep intimacy and knowledge of one another, we eat that up. Like, women love that. That's why I love Slushy Noobs. That's why people love Jake and Johnny, because they exhibit friendships that go deeper than just like, oh yeah, we knew each other in middle school and now we're still best friends and we're 30. It's like they know things about each other. They care about each other at a deep level, whether or not it's for, social media. It's like, who's to say? But that is why those people are so successful. And it's literally based off of a friendship between two guys. But me and my friend were talking about how, like, women who, have kids, that's like a new stage of life where you become friends with other people. Men who have kids still are friends with their old people. But it's just very interesting to see the differences between the two stages of life. You know what I mean? Because I think it does go back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like so much evolution is expected of women throughout their lives, where it's like men, it's just not the same. So, but yeah, I think that's all that I want to talk about on that topic. And I'll move on to the end of the episode, where every week I like to ask the club members to write in either some advice that they have for other club members, advice that they would like to ask me, or to confess to something that they just need to get off their chest. Last week I did costume write-ins that people had, and somebody wrote in a actual write-in. So I'm going to read that this week because I didn't put it out this week since I'm recording early, but we had one, so it kind of worked out great. So this person says, I think I have a crush on a coworker while I have a boyfriend. Which, that sounds messy. I was watching a TikTok actually not too long ago. All of my scientific evidence and studies that I've read or whatever, I don't read them. I just watch TikToks. I watched this TikTok, and it was this therapist talking about like crushes while you're in a relationship with somebody else, and the like how often they happen and what does that mean and whatever. And they're talking about how it was like it's a fairly normal thing, and the majority of people who are in relationships will develop a crush on somebody because that's just how human nature is. But the difference I think that they were talking about between like a crush and an actual like act on that crush, it's like crushes like in our mind mean so much, but in reality like don't mean anything if you don't ever like act on it, because it's like something to do with the fact that like a crush is just a fantasy that you have in your brain. That it like creates for whatever reason, but like it doesn't mean that like you don't love the person that you're with or you don't like the person that you're with. And I think a lot of people read into it and it's like, well, I wouldn't be having this if I was in like a healthy relationship or whatever. But the therapist was talking about like, it's like, that's just not true. Like we all have, crushes, and, the same way people have like celebrity crushes, or like they have like a coworker that they really get along with and they're like attracted to. It's just like, it's a thing. Just think about like any relationship you've ever been in. Like I'm sure there's been a point in the relationship where like you're super locked in or whatever, but at a certain point, like when you develop, relationships with other people, not on an intimate level, just on like a co-working or a friendship level or whatever, and you are attracted to that sex, like that's just going to come with it. I feel like, I think the difference is, are you like actively thinking about like doing something with them, or like, are you actively reaching out to them? I think that's when it takes it too far. It's because now you are maybe consciously or subconsciously acting on an interest that you're trying to fulfill, where it's like a crush in the grand scheme is harmless. It's just a thought. You know what I mean? It's like we all have like intrusive thoughts too that are maybe like dark, or like maybe we all don't have these, but like I just think about like when I'm driving my car, I'm kind of like, well, what if I just like drive off the side of the road and like drive into like the lake? Or what if I just like turned the steering wheel really hard and slammed into a tree? I'm obviously not going to do that. And I know that that's not going to happen, but like I have that thought. I feel like a crush can be the same, where it's like, oh my God, what if I was dating this person instead of the person that I'm with? That's like, it's like a Venn diagram, you know? I feel like we always have these like compare and contrast moments. It's like your job that you're in. Like you can be in a job, be super happy and whatever, but if you see a job offer on LinkedIn that's like $50,000 more that you're qualified for, you're like, damn, that looks good. Are you going to quit your job and apply to that? I don't know, maybe. But there's nothing, I think, inherently bad about having that. And I think because we are in this like monogamous, like very like old traditional view on relationships, not that I think that people shouldn't be monogamous. Like I don't care what you do. I think it is a bit freaky, people who are like polyamorous, just because like I'm like, oh, y'all are kind of like freaks. Not in like a you're like freakish, like more like freaky, like did he freak off? Not freak off. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like freak Bob. Like y'all are a bit different. Y'all are built different. I personally could not handle that because I'm jealous psycho and I would hate that. But like if that works for you, that works for you. But I do think because we are built on this society of like monogamy and, you know, it's either all or nothing and whatever, I could understand like maybe feeling guilt around having a crush on somebody else. But like a crush is not real. I have a crush on like a million people. That's not real. That person doesn't know I have a crush on them. There's nothing in my life that is going to lead to that becoming something with these people I have crushes on, unless I take the action and like tell them. You know what I mean? So there's nothing bad happening. There's nothing bad happening in your relationship because of it. Does that make sense? I don't know. I think crushes are healthy. I think it's good. I think it means that you still like find people attractive. You still, you know, enjoy socializing with people. Like it's good. I think it'd be bad if you just like hated everybody and were just like, everybody's repulsive to me and whatever. Even if you're in a relationship, I think it's still perfectly normal to like find other people attractive, and like you should, you know, be kind of weird if you didn't. Like if you looked at somebody and you're like, who is like conventionally attractive, or if they like look similar to the people that you've dated in the past, like it's okay that you have a crush on them. But yes, thank you for your confession. I appreciate it. But that's going to conclude this week's club meeting. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. Sorry, this was a yap fest ramble sesh per usual. I don't know why I apologize, because that's literally all this is every time. But every time I feel like I black out while I'm talking. And then when I go edit, I'm like, oh my God, whoa, I forgot I talked about any of that. And I'm about to edit right after this. So I feel like that's going to be extra today because I really blacked out there. So we'll see what comes of this. But anyways, I love you guys, and I will see you next week for our club meeting. Bye.
The Girls Club, 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 the Girls Club. It's my club and I'm a girl, yeah.